You are watching the Advocare Invitational on ESPN, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Beautiful wide world of sports here in Orlando. It's Disney, it's the HP Fieldhouse, and day one of the quarterfinal action continues here in Orlando. Already 2 games in the books. Villanova taking care of Canisius 83-54, the final there. And Oklahoma State looking very impressive over Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers 84-64 final there. With that, we say hello and welcome. Mike Morgan alongside Tim Welsh. And Coach, should be an exciting stage 2, if you will, the evening session. We got a good one to start things off. A very talented LSU team that was somewhat of a surprise last year in the SEC, and they look like they could be an NCAA tournament team this year.
Well, Will Wade has them revamped again after winning 17 games a year ago with a veteran crew. Now they've got a younger basketball team, but this guy has the experience. Tremont Waters just was tremendous a year ago. Really was on the doorstep of maybe going to the NBA, came back, I think, a great decision. Look for him to be an explosive guard to the rim, doing a lot of different things. But Will Wade wants them to take better shots from the perimeter.
Yeah, they've been taking a lot of ill-advised threes in Baton Rouge. Meanwhile, for the College of Charleston, not as big, not as deep, but they've got a pretty good scoring duo.
Well, they do. In College of Charleston, after their success a year ago, getting to the NCAA tournament, they returned some really good players in Grant Riller and Jarrell Brantley. These 2 guys can really fill it up, and for Earl Grant, he needs these 2 guys to step up big time tonight, especially Brantley up on the front line where he can do damage in the paint with his size and his ability to score and get LSU's longer athletic front line into some foul trouble.
There is a look at Jarrell Brantley, the senior, who's had a tremendous year thus far, averaging 18.5 points, 9 rebounds per game. Young man who was first team All-Colonial last year and looks to be the same this year. First meeting between the Cougars and the Tigers coming up.
Tremont Waters, let's go on a little fast break. Your favorite emoji?
The laughing emoji.
Let me see it.
Ha.
Your favorite place to eat on campus?
I would say my room.
What's Coach Wade's favorite line?
You're not playing hard enough. Chance favors the aggressor.
This guy is the aggressor. Tremont Waters. In transition, on a fast break.
Not a bad impression either there, Will Wade, although I'm not sure his head coach will appreciate that very much. But he will appreciate the play of Tremont Waters, who really was one of the best surprises in the SEC last year. Pint-sized point guard. They list him at 5'11", about $160, $170 tops. That's soaking wet. But what he does, Tim Welsh, is he makes plays. He just sees the floor well and can hit threes at any time.
Well, Mike, he's improved his body, though, from a year ago. And as most freshmen do, because they're sophomore year, they understand what you need to go through an entire season. The number one thing you need is to get in with the strength coach, eat right. And he tested the NBA waters. Most of the NBA teams told him that. You've got to get stronger before you're ready to play at this level. And wisely, he's back, and Will Wade is ready to let him go. And he's going to take better shots. So Will talked about it yesterday. Better shot selection from the perimeter.
Well, Brantley tips it in the backcourt. The Cougars control the opening tip. We're underway. College of Charleston from the Colonial and LSU for the Southeastern Conference. First meeting ever between these 2 schools. Straight up top is Jasper on a 3. Off the mark, tapped around, and finally into the hands of the big freshman Naz Reid. We'll call his name a lot in this game.
Dante Smart, you're going to call his name a lot too. He is a good-looking freshman out on the perimeter.
3 ball off the mark and a weak side rebound by Galloway. Corner 3. A blip and a rebound of Skylar Mays, the junior from Baton Rouge. He has really elevated his play this season. Waters probes the baseline, now steps back. Beautiful feed down low and a bank in for Emmett Williams, the freshman.
Emmett Williams, the big mitts on the inside. I thought that ball was going right to Charleston on a turnover, and just the quickness to the basketball and then the elevation and tough finish.
Williams out of Fort Myers, Florida. They got 2 tremendous freshmen from the Sunshine State. Cougars coming into this game 3-1. LSU undefeated at 4-0, and a steal by Naz Reid. They have been pilfering the basketball. It's 41 steals already on the year.
Well, definitely Earl Grant does not want to see a lot of that, because it turns into that. An easy basket at the other end. Just a bad play by Brantley. Just spun into traffic, out of control, turnover, and then a bucket at the other end.
And the bucket by Javonte Smart, one of 3 freshmen in the starting lineup for the Bayou Bengals. What does College of Charleston have to do to kind of neutralize? Well, that's one answer right there. A 3 from Brevin Galloway, the sophomore from Anderson, South Carolina. What do they have to do to neutralize the size and the athleticism of LSU?
Well, they're going to try to space the floor a little bit and be patient in the half court. Kind of make LSU, get them frustrated. You know, starting 3 freshmen. The thing about freshmen, they're talented offensively, but they're not where they need to be defensively yet, so make them work on the defensive end.
There is that talented freshman on the offensive end, Naz Reid, who's back in the starting lineup. He had a tender ankle, so he had to come off the bench in his last game. Special-looking player. They plucked him out of Asbury Park, New Jersey. Galloway to Brantley. This is their go-to guy. Kick out pass, 3 on the shot clock. Going to have to fire it up quickly and a walk. Happy feet for Jasper, the redshirt freshman.
And you can see early what the scheme is and the design defensively by LSU. They are not leaving Grant Riller at all. Even on driving kicks on baseline side, they're not helping at all that time. Great defense by Skylar Mays, just holding his own, forcing the turnover.
We saw Earl Grant, the head coach of the Cougars. A historic year last year, got back to the NCAA tournament. First time since '99 as Waters hits one right between the eyes from downtown.
One of those contested threes that Will Wade said, oh, we're only 17% from, but that was lights out.
Yeah, he was pressing in practice when we were watching yesterday. Stop settling for bad threes. We can get better shots, but when Waters is hitting, hard to be mad at him.
Well, both these teams.
Another steal.
Had some trouble in the half court in their shot selection, with College of Charleston shooting only 24% on the season, but Tremont Waters is just, you better get near him. He is a triple threat. He's tough to defend from out there. You think he's maybe a little bit too deep, but if you get up in his chest, one thing he can do is create that space off the bounce.
You can actually see the NBA three-point line kind of scarcely on the hardwood. He was behind the three-point line of the NBA on that shot. Reid top shelf for another rebound. Here's Waters full throttle. Waters all the way.
What call by you, Mike Morgan, the lead with Tremont Waters in the open, because he has led LSU from the tap of this game, dominating.
LSU is at 5 of their first 6 shots. And almost another steal by Mays.
Loose passes right now on the perimeter by College of Charleston, and LSU is going to eat that up.
An offensive rebound, and Nick Harris is fouled on the way up. Timeout on the floor. LSU out to an early 11-3 lead in Orlando.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. Advocare, we build champions. And ESPN Wide World of Sports, champions made here.
Back with you here at the HP Fieldhouse at ESPN's Wide World of Sports. Mike Morgan, Tim Welsh, fans of all ages enjoying the action here. That's an LSU fan. You can tell by the colors. In fact, LSU had over 100 fans hop on the team plane en route from Baton Rouge to sunny Orlando, Florida. So they've got a good presence here. A lot of purple and gold in the crowd, and so far so good for the LSU fan base, up 11-3.
Well, right now, College of Charleston is having some major difficulty in the half court against LSU's quickness. They're getting up and pressuring the ball hard, and College of Charleston's kind of playing back on their heels, and their passes on the perimeter have been very loose and soft, and if that continues, it's going to be a long night for the Cougars.
Guy at the free throw line is Nick Harris. He's a senior. He goes 6'10", 270, and I kept looking at his numbers saying that must be a mistake. He's averaging a half a point a game, and I was talking to some of the folks on the College of Charleston side, I said, yeah, he's put on a little weight. He's recently married, so congratulations to Nick Harris and his bride. But they need to get a little more offense out of that young man.
It was a pretty good explosive move he made to get to the free throw line, but he'll have his hands full tonight with Nas Reed and Terrell Bigsby Williams, that's for sure.
Bright young man. He already graduated, wants to get into logistics when he's done with school. Waters skips it into the corner, an open Mays on a three. Good ball movement, but the shot comes off the iron. And a whistle will be LSU basketball. And coming into the game for the Tigers, Cavell Bigby Williams. He actually started in the place of Nas Reed. He's a transfer from Oregon. He played on that Final Four team for the Ducks a couple of years ago. Gives him a good rim protector at 6'11".
Bigby Williams, Will Wade calls him their X factor and their energy guy off the bench, the shot blocker. He's got a little offensive game as well.
Mays wheels, kicks, and a three ball from the corner. Knocked down by Marlon Taylor.
Taylor's got a little smooth jumper, comes from Mount Vernon. A trail of many great players came out of Mount Vernon.
Brantley faces up, fires a shot. He's been quiet so far. This guy hasn't. Waters all the way. Throws it up wildly, and it's tapped up and in. Not sure which LSU Tiger will get credit. It looks like it'll be Days.
Well, it was hard to tell because they were on the attack and they were just flying down the court to follow up that miss. And right now, the quickness, the length, the athleticism, and just effort of LSU dominating this game.
They did give it to Days, another freshman in that highly touted top 10 recruiting class for Will Wade.
Well, this is the problem that Earl Grant has early in the season. They really missed their point guard, Marquise Pointer, and having to go with a freshman out there has allowed teams to load up on Grant Riller, as you see tonight. They're just not leaving him open.
Waters finds big man down low, great swing, and an open three on the way, and an air ball fired up by Taylor.
On the attack. And LSU's got some fast athletes on their football team that can really run and catch the basketball, but down at the rim, look at this. Three guys want that hoop.
It's going to be an offensive foul. Push off on McManus.
A lot of frustration right now for College of Charleston. They just cannot get anything going. And the problem is they cannot enter the ball. They can't get into their offense because they're trying to reverse the floor, and LSU's just not letting them get back to the other side to get ball reversal.
Well, you mentioned it. They really miss Marquise Pointer, their point guard. And he's a true athletic point guard. 6 foot, 210-pound guy who commands the offense. He'll be back in 2 weeks. He's still nursing an elbow injury. Charleston right now just 1 for 7 from the field, 3 turnovers. Jasper can't change the bad fortunes thus far.
There's no offense at all, no flow, quick shots in the half court.
Waters spinning, lost it, found it, and an and one for Bigby Williams. Broken play, but it ends up good for LSU.
First guy Will Wade talked about, besides Tremont Waters, was Bigby Williams, and you can see why. He just gives him that length up front. Big dominator defensively, intimidator, but offensively underrated, and has the ability to knock down those little mid-range shots, post up, and get to the rim.
Bigby Williams had a great game against another team in the field here at the Advocare Invitational. He was 7 for 7 against Memphis in a victory over the Tigers. That was Memphis's lone loss of the year before the game preceding ours. Oklahoma State, Mike Boynton and company really took it to Memphis in a 20-point win.
Memphis talking about not getting any flow. Memphis couldn't run anything in the second half against that smothering Oklahoma State defense.
Brantley gets it to go. That's a big bucket for Jarrell Brantley. He's got to play huge if Charleston's going to pull off the upset.
Well, he's only been 22% on the season from the three, but you can see he's got a nice stroke. The problem is tonight, nobody has been open at all. LSU doing a great job in their assignments that time. Brantley took his time, knocked it in.
And then an offensive foul on LSU.
Charleston pick and roll. The roll man pops back out, a little pick and pop.
Brantley, a great inside-outside player, can kind of overpower guards, and he's got the ability to pull out against some of the bigger players out there. He had 24 in a loss to Oklahoma State on Sunday, and at times he looked like the best player on the floor. Also had 24 in the NCAA tournament loss. That was a game that they nearly defeated the Auburn Tigers in the first round. Shot clock down to 5. And a force put up there, and it goes. Brantley just so strong. Everybody knew that shot was going to have to be forced and contested, but he still got it to drop.
He kind of pushed his way through the door that time, and he has that ability, and Charleston's starting to get a little momentum.
They sure are. That'll help as well. Offensive foul on Days. A great job by Jalen Richard to draw the charge.
Jarrell Brantley has power. He's got a little finesse. He's got a little shake and bake. And he's got a little fadeaway to his game.
Looks like they're going to have a tremendous season.
Hold up, let me get up in it now.
Somehow this one seems different.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Indiana takes on number 1 Duke, Tuesday at 9:30 on ESPN.
Certainly looking forward to that game. Duke, little piece of humble pie. Pump the brakes on them being the best college basketball team of all time. Gonzaga's pretty doggone good and showed itself.
Well, I have to admit, Mike, did a little cheating last night on my game prep for this tournament. I just couldn't get away from that Duke-Gonzaga game. And Huey was just holding on for dear life at the end. They missed the 4 free throws, but it really deserved to win because they led the whole game, but Duke's talent just came out at the end and almost did it for Mike Krzyzewski. But some of those plays those freshmen were making in the last 10 minutes of the game were eye-popping for Duke.
They really were. And you don't want to play Mark Few in these November Feast Week tournaments. Wins Maui. He's won 3 times here. They were here 2 years ago when they knocked off an impressive field that included Florida and beat a very talented Iowa State team in the championship game.
Even Norm Few, the great dad of Mark, was a little nervous. He was chewing his lollipops in the stands. So he was not feeling good either down the stretch.
As Reed has one spin out. Charleston quickly in the front court. He's a man that loved to get going, Grant Riller.
And they somehow have to get him off the ball, run some misdirection, set some screens away from the ball for him, and have him coming off ready to create some space because LSU is just loaded up on him. He's getting no room to roam.
Another steal. That was Javonte Smart. LSU, one of the top steals teams in the country. They just find a way in those passing lanes, Coach, and so long, so quick, so athletic.
Well, Will Wade's teams have always been very rock-solid defensively, and going back to the VCU days, and they didn't have the havoc there. They didn't press. They're just solid. Okay, the premise is on hard ball pressure, but deny one pass away. But then everybody else is in really good help position, and they take away gaps very, very quickly.
Waters running the show on offense. Behind the back pass and an easy path to the goal for Naz Reid, who flushes it home. That will not please Earl Grant.
Goodness. Seen a lot of AAU games here in the summer where one team dominates and the other team doesn't play any defense. That time nobody was home for College of Charleston.
Pretty hard to miss Naz Reid on a baseline drive. He's 240 plus. Air ball fired up. Rebound Cougars. Out to Galloway on a 3. Rattles out. Here's Smart. Reed. And tried to return to Javonte Smart, who wasn't looking.
Well, this was so easy that I almost felt like everybody just froze waiting for a whistle or something. The pass just went a little awry. Watch this. It's not even a good, clean pass. A double bounce behind the back. Drive the baseline. Everybody get out of the way.
Smart took one look at it. He was over there in the paint. He saw a head of steam for Naz Reid and said, I think I'm just going to stay here. He made a business decision. Tough shot and a block foul called. Free throws upcoming for Richard, the 6'4 freshman from Durham, North Carolina. College of Charleston, 6th year in the Colonial.
College Charleston did a better job on that possession, even though LSU really jammed them up. And you can see their scheme. They are not allowing the ball to go from one side of the floor to the other. Total overplay. That time they somehow squeezed it through, drove the baseline, and Reed was a touch late on the help.
Free throw up and in for the freshman Richard. I mentioned Charleston, 6 years now in the Colonial. Used to be in the Southern. They've only been Division I since 1991. John Kress, who I know is watching back in Charleston, really put this program on the map. He put Charleston in the 4 NCAA tournaments, pulled off some upsets. And congratulations, by the way, to Coach Kress. Recent induction into the National College Basketball Hall of Fame.
Well, Colonial's an excellent league. Billy Cohen up at Northeastern got a tremendous program and a very good team with the challenge as well. And that league has got a lot of things going for it. Not only basketball, but all their sports, led by their great commissioner, Joe D'Antonio, I see him on Twitter. He seems to be everywhere. There must be 2 of him. He's at every event in the Colonial. He's the hardest working commissioner in sports.
Charleston basketball down by 9, 9:04 to go, first half.
College of Charleston, Mike, has settled down a little bit since the first 5 minutes of this game. LSU's athleticism kind of shocked them, even though they've played an athletic team already, and they on the road at Oklahoma State, and they got beat up pretty good there. But when you look at their point guard, Zep Jasper, he's starting to come into play. He's only a freshman, and this is a tall order for him playing against this defense, but he's starting to settle in a little bit.
I think shock is a good word. There was a little bit of shock to start this game off. Here's Richard. Tough shot with a hand in his face. Knocks it down right between the eyes of Emmett Williams.
Took his time that time, Richard. He did a nice job of creating some space and under duress laid it in from the middle of the floor.
Williams. Kick out pass into the hands of Darrell Edwards, who draws a foul. Richard the guilty party. That'll be team foul number 5. Tomorrow, kick back with a plate of leftovers for these 2 big college football matchups on ESPN. Undefeated, number 11 from right here in Orlando. UCF taking on South Florida at 4:15 Eastern. Then it's a Big 12 battle in Morgantown between number 6 Oklahoma and number 9 West Virginia at 8 Eastern. Of course, the Mountaineers last year winning the championship here at the Advocare Invitational, knocking off Missouri in a great comeback. Down low, that's beast mode. Emmett Williams, 6'6", 225, a load.
That's beast mode and deft delivery by Waters. The wraparound in the lane. This man can do it all.
Under pressure here, got his hands on the pumpkin. Picked back up by Jasper. Now Richard on a 3. Way too strong. Smart gliding into front court. Waters thought about it. Now will jack up a deep 3. That's the kind of shot Will Wade has been complaining about. But you get an offensive rebound and another 3. And an offensive foul. Will Wade was adamant with us, Tim Welsh, that they have got to do a better job not settling for 3s.
Not settling for 3s. This is what he wants Tremont Waters to do. Create a little space, a little shake and bake, and then the delivery to the big for the finish.
LSU up by 9 over the College of Charleston, and the Tigers led by sophomore sensation Tremont Waters.
Well, when you start 3 freshmen, you really need your experienced guard to do this. Deliver the basketball on point to the other talented players on the floor who aren't really ready to run the team or make the plays. You have to make the plays for everybody, and this is what Waters has done so far tonight for LSU. Just very, very efficient with the basketball. Knocked down a 3 there. He missed a couple, but he is just jet quick to the rim in transition.
Young man who really wanted to go to Duke, got caught in a numbers game. Mike Krzyzewski signed another point guard, and so then Tremont Waters was headed to Georgetown and had a coaching change there. So he was kind of like a de facto free agent of sorts, and Will Wade was just fortunate to pick him up at that point, and what a find he's been. 3 on the way, and that's the man they need to heat up in a hurry, Jarrell Brantley.
Well, I like that move by Earl Grant. He has Brantley going in and out, kind of bringing the bigs of LSU out on the perimeter, trying to force the bigs to guard at the three-point line.
8 points for Brantley to lead the way. Mays on a 3 has the response from the corner.
And a beautiful baseline pass. Waters under control. Knew Mays was on the drive and drift in the opposite quarter.
Skylar Mays has really saved his best for this his junior year. He actually already could have graduated, but he changed his major. That was a brick by Riller. He just been frustrated so far today. Oh, nifty move along the sideline by Smart.
Three-time Mr. Basketball in the state of Louisiana. If you can't handle the ball, but here's Tremont Waters again. Looks like he's out of control. He goes to change direction. The help kind of comes over a little too quickly, and they don't rotate down on the backside. And boom, Waters knew the open man was in the opposite corner.
Such great vision. One of those things you can't teach, right? I mean, some guys just have it. Look at that pass. A missed dunk on what should have been another dime for Waters.
He's taking his time and laid it in.
3 ball. Back iron. Offensive rebound into the hands of Harris.
Riller finally got open on that last possession. I think he was shocked to be that open. He kind of rushed his shot.
Lob pass into nobody in particular, stolen away by LSU's Marlon Taylor. That was a gift. Mays down low, hoop in the harm for Emmett Williams.
College of Charleston kind of got confused, didn't communicate coming back after that miscue at the other end and never got organized, and they left Emmett Williams wide open at the rim.
Timeout on the floor with 5:41 to play. LSU on top, 27-16. We'll keep it here. Will Wade talking to his guys. One thing Will Wade's going to have to be challenged with this year, I mean, the level of talent in this, his second year at LSU compared to last year, it's night and day, there's no question. But when you start 3 freshmen, Coach, obviously there's going to be some growing pains that you're going to have to just kind of work with.
Well, there is, but I like the mix and match they have. He's got Mays as a junior out there on the floor with Waters. Then they're bringing all the freshmen along with them. And you'll notice that those guys aren't out there alone. And you've got a lot of talent. I think he's done a nice job putting them in good spots out there on the floor where they don't have to do a lot with the basketball, a lot of decision making. They kind of are the finishers. The thing I'm impressed about with LSU so far this year is that defensively, even though their field goal percentage numbers aren't probably what Will wants them to be, but when you break them down on tape, they're mostly in pretty good positions. They don't gamble. Very well schooled in the half court defensively.
Will Wade himself, a great story. He's one of those guys did not have the typical cliche path to a big-time college coaching job. He did not play college basketball. He was a student manager at Clemson back when Oliver Purnell was the head coach, then a director of ops, and 2 years at Harvard under Tommy Amaker. Coached one Jeremy Lin there, and assistant at Harvard, assistant at VCU, head coach at Chattanooga, head coach at VCU, and here he is now.
Very well thought of. Obviously, a really good basketball coach, but has proven his recruiting skills to be a high level as well at LSU.
The great thing about LSU is sometimes you barely have to leave the city to get great players. The city of Baton Rouge has produced so many talented players. Tyrus Thomas, Glenn Davis, just to name a couple. Inside, left-handed hook shot, left short. That's Bigby Williams.
I have to tell you, though, there's a lot of schools, as you know, between New Haven, Connecticut, and Asbury Park, New Jersey, and LSU. So he's done a good job of getting those kids from the Northeast
no doubt
to come to LSU and Reed and Waters.
I have a feeling LSU is going to be able to recruit nationally for a while under Will Wade. Air ball provided that time by Brantley.
Well, it's just the pressure of the defense, knowing they're coming, gets you to rush those shots and takes you off your game.
Silky smooth mid-range game there by Emmett Williams.
Well, College Charleston's problems on the offensive end now are seeping into the defensive end. They're not getting back and communicating, and LSU is scoring very easily on the second or third pass in their offense.
8 points now for Emmett Williams. Reach-in foul on the Tigers is Grant Riller. Riller hasn't been able to find an open look from outside very often tonight, so he figured he'd try to penetrate.
He's going to have to do something off the bounce, and more than anyone on College of Charleston, he misses Marquise Pointer, because Pointer and him can work together hand in hand. They look for each other, and playing with a freshman point guard, Jasper is very talented, but just doesn't have that experience to play against this type of defense.
We hit the 4-minute mark here in Orlando first half. LSU up by 13. Again, Riller just cannot find it. Smart bleeds a little clock here.
He's going to run a play for Emmett Williams. The whole building knows it. They're going to isolate him down in the box and go right at Brantley.
Here we go. And a baseline cut by Marlon Taylor with the two-hand flush. Largest lead for LSU.
Jalen Richard just turned his head and didn't see his man. He looked right at the ball, and LSU went backdoor for the easy one.
Like you said, you could hear Will Wade barking out that play in the half court. And LSU operated it with perfection. Pass inside, LSU active hands all over the place, on the perimeter and in the paint.
Well, unselfish play. This play was for Emmett Williams, but he felt the double. One, up, and over for the easy one on the backside. LSU dominating.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings.
Beautiful Lake Eola and in Orlando, Florida. Nice temperatures here. Highs were in the 70s today. A little pool weather. 31-16, LSU on top. Marlon Taylor banging up his
ESPN's
hand
exclusive
moments ago. See him trying to... Doesn't look like a hand to me. That looks more like a leg situation. Regardless, Marlon Taylor has 5, and LSU has been in control of this game from the opening tip.
The legs have been moving fast and furiously for LSU. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they are just on the attack on both ends of the floor. And College of Charleston, again, their issues have been on the half court in their offense. 2 assists, 6 turnovers, but defensively they have just had many errors, just not finding and communicating in transition or even in the half court.
I'd love to get this man going. Grant Riller. Riller hounded by Edwards. See, I mean, he was just smothered. That's a tough shot, and Charleston's had a lot of those. Galloway on a settle. Beautiful pass. Down low, bucket, and the foul for Bigby Williams.
Waters is just drawing the attention of that second and third defender, and he's moving into the lane quickly with his head up in a sense to find the open man.
He is putting on a clinic of no-look dimes here in this first half.
He averages about 6 assists a game on the season, so he's obviously changed his game to fit this basketball team. He's not hunting those shots, and he's made a ton of big ones a year ago to help this LSU team, but he has become more of a distributor this year.
Brantley knifing in to get his own rebound, creates some space, shot blocked. Second effort, blocked again. Off his pogo stick was Emmett Williams.
Boy, the door closes quickly by multiple defenders.
And Charleston Cleans up the miss by LSU. 2 minutes remaining first half. There's a great take. And Grant Riller can do that. He's a terrific finisher at the basket, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Well, he tried to get in there into the lane, but LSU does such a good job of closing the gaps, and they're sending that second defender at him, but that time he was able to squeeze through and finish.
Charleston would love to have something positive to build on going into the locker room. Chance for a little run here. Riller all the way, and another great finish.
That time Riller pushed it, and LSU was back on their heels defensively. Didn't slow him down, didn't create any type of help on the weak side.
Riller, a hometown product out of Ocoee, Florida. Not far from where this game is taking place. Shot clock under 10. LSU, another paint touch, and then a turnover. And now Charleston finally getting a little momentum.
Riller can do this, and this time coming down in transition, a little move through this defense. Nobody closed the door. He found that angle to the rim.
Mom and Dad looking on. Marcus and Bonnie Riller enjoying their son starting to catch a little fire here. Under a minute to go, Charleston can close the gap to 10 points with a 3 or maybe another 2. That time, a little wild was Riller. He wanted the foul.
Now, Big B Williams came over and said, we'll have none of that 3 in a row at the rim.
Back-to-back turnovers on LSU. Riller alley-oop, and there's the finish with his battery mate, Jarrell Brantley.
That was a great decision by Brantley. I think originally he wanted to punch it. He wanted to punch it home, but he gathered himself and just laid it in nicely, and a little bit of life for the Cougars.
6-0 run for the Cougars to cut it to an 11-point deficit.
This is one of our top cameramen right here. He is taking his life in his own hands as Reverend Jarrell Brantley comes at him full force with 255 pounds.
And so steady on that shot as well.
With a soft touch, but again, a little bit of life, just give them some sort of halfway confidence and spirit going in the locker room, but now we've got to contain Waters at the top. Give him some help, but don't overhelp because he is looking to deliver as he gets into the lane.
5-second differential, game clock to shot clock. Waters fading away 3, rims off, out of bounds, and that will be Cougars basketball. So 6.1 left. They could close the half with just a single-digit deficit, and considering the way they started, that would be an accomplishment.
Well, Grant Riller's done a nice job getting to the rim. And then defensively, though, College of Charleston has cleaned up a little bit of their stuff that was going on. No help, lack of communication, not picking their man up quickly enough, containing the dribbler, giving a little bit of help, but don't overhelp.
Riller with 2, with 1, fades and fires. Just off to the left, and that is how the half will come to a close. Grant Riller making things entertaining here at the end of the half. Coming up at the half, ACC Coaching Roundtable and highlights of the first 2 games here at the Advocare Invitational. Villanova and Oklahoma State looking awfully good. LSU looking good in Game 3 thus far. The Tigers leading it 33-22. With you in Orlando. Advocare Invitational opening round games. LSU leading Charleston at the half 33-22. 2 games in the books earlier today. Villanova maybe answering some critics. Coach, looks like they got back on track.
Well, it's small steps for a young basketball team. There's no question about it. And today was another step for Jay Wright, just learning how to win, how to bounce back after that tough loss to Furman where we just kind of shocked the country. But listen, They're going to have those ups and downs. They've got a very young team, but Phil Booth led them as well today.
Speaking of shocking, Oklahoma State has a 6'10 freshman by the name of Yor Ane who shocked Memphis today.
Yeah, he changed the game. There's no doubt about that. And look at that, a little bounce off the dribble. Little Cam McGriff, too, the double-double for Oklahoma State.
So those two teams will be locking horns tomorrow. That'll be the early bird at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That'll be on ESPN. Of course, the winners of these two games, LSU, Charleston, and later on tonight, and that we'll have for you on ESPN2, that'll be UAB and the Seminoles of Florida State. Second half action coming your way. LSU up by 11. Welcome back to Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. This is the Advocare Invitational, day one of this event here in Orlando. And LSU out to an 11-point lead, 33-22. So welcome you back, Mike Morgan, the coach Tim Welsh, and Sparky, our buddy here on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Coach, one thing that LSU did not lack was spark in that first half. Tremont Waters, he is the spark plug, but he's got a lot of weapons around him.
Well, LSU's defense was outstanding for the most part in this first 20 minutes, but Tremont Waters dominated the game on the offensive end. He controlled the tempo in transition. He had his head up. The defense was geared to stop him, and when he felt that second and even third defender had his head up and his teammates moved into open areas, and even when the pass wasn't picture perfect, they found ways to finish the play. And LSU does a nice job of sliding into open areas. They really have a good feel of where Waters is going to deliver them the ball, which is usually on point and perfect.
LSU 10 assists in that first half on their 15 buckets. Very well played, but give Charleston credit. A good run to close out the first half to make this a more than manageable deficit, just 11 points as we start half number two. Same starting five on the floor for the Tigers, including this man, Javonte Smart, an explosive 6'4 freshman guard. And he will go to the free throw line on a drive, drawing contact.
Tough play there for Charleston. Just bailout. Smart was out of control, but College Charleston just kind of came over, did build a wall inside, and gave him a little body contact.
Mountain Shoe 0 for 3 in the first half from the free throw line. And that streak will change. Javonte Smart, three-time Louisiana Gatorade Player of the Year. And you know anything about high school basketball in the state of Louisiana, there is a ton of talent. So to win that award 3 times speaks volumes.
And he's fit in nicely right out of the gate, shooting in a high percentage, not really forcing the issue, but you could see that ability to create off the bounce.
Riller into the corner, setting up a three. Shot off, but a whistle down low, and it'll be a foul on Charleston. Going for the rebound. And it's going to be on 23. That's Nick Harris. What does College of Charleston have to do differently in half number two?
Well, they have to move the ball a little bit better from side to side. I don't think they're cutting hard enough to play against this aggressive defense. And defensively, I think they've cleaned up some of the mistakes they made in the first half, not communicating, not matching up. Clearly have to try to get some fast break baskets when they can off misses.
They gave Emmett Williams that three. He took it. And Charleston clears it. Inside. Shot missed, and a foul down low, and it's going to go against Naz Reid. Jarrell Brentley, their go-to guy. A senior out of Columbia, South Carolina. He was actually really overlooked by both South Carolina and Clemson. He's certainly talented enough where he could play in a Power 5 conference, that's for sure. Coach Earl Grant's first recruit. And he's really the pulse of the team, not just from a numbers standpoint, but they lean so heavily on Brantley for leadership. He's got 11 points in this game to lead the way.
Ever improving Jarrell Brantley from year to year in his career at College of Charleston. And this game has been under control tonight, but he's playing very hard. You could see LSU is really trying to load up on him around the rim, but he stepped out and tried to make some things happen off the bounce.
Brantley leading all scorers now with 12 points. And the lead is back to 11. Waters barks out the play. And a lazy pass by Smart, stolen away. And then Waters pokes it from behind. Great hustle by Tremont Waters.
Well, these were the plays that College of Charleston was making on the offensive end early in this basketball game. Just kind of a loose, lazy pass across the middle of the floor, but Waters saved the day with great hustle.
Brantley figured nobody was going to catch him from behind. And Brantley back iron on a three. Smart carries. Turnover LSU, that's 8.
You can see Javonte Smart, he just wants to do one thing, get to the rim, but in that possession, College of Charleston had the defense set.
Jasper. Into the hands of Grant Riller. Riller crosses over. Had every intention to take it to the rim and then lost it off of LSU out of bounds.
He's changed his mindset as this game has progressed, Mike. He's early in the game, he was trying to find his way out on the perimeter, and LSU said, no, thank you, we're not going to leave you. So he's done a better job in the latter part of the first half and now just trying to get the ball to the rim off the bounce.
Charleston really struggling from downtown in this game. 3 of 17. And LSU makes him pay on the other end. Darius Days.
That time it was a tough three, probably a quick three, and College of Charleston got caught jogging back while LSU was sprinting to the rim.
His first field goal for LSU in nearly 5 minutes. Darius Days, the pride of Raleigh, Florida. Not Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, Florida, population 373. Out of bounds to LSU.
Well, that's impressive, Mike Morgan. You know a little background on Raleigh, Florida.
I've got more for you, Coach. How about it's a town of 1.9 square miles. It's not far from Williston, which is just outside of Gainesville, Florida. That's Gator country over there. Other than that, I've got nothing else. So
There's not much, with all due respect, there's not much else going on there, but produced a good basketball player at least.
I've exhausted all my fun facts on Raleigh, Florida. Tell you what, Tremont Waters not exhausted in the least. An and one for the pint-sized point guard out of New Haven, Connecticut.
Well, he's pint-sized, but when you play and come up through the ranks of New Haven, Connecticut, it's a little bit bigger than Raleigh, Florida, but he got by all the big recruiting schools in the Northeast and ended up in Baton Rouge, and he is proving that he is one of the best guards around.
The SEC's got a couple of smaller guards that can dominate a basketball game. If you haven't seen Harper of Auburn, saw what he did even in a loss against Duke. Tremendous effort. He's, for my money, one of the top point guards in America. .16 cushion for LSU. Charleston trying to cut into it. Dangerous pass. Good ball movement, though. Worked around for an open three and knocked down that time by Zep Jasper.
Real Brantley playing a nice floor game. Just had his head up, the skip pass and the extra pass, but then College of Charleston doesn't run back and defend.
What a punch in the gut that is. You hit the big three, you get some Mo on your side, and Skylar Mays sends one right back your way.
You're just not running back with the urgency you need to defend LSU.
Again, good ball movement. Baseline drive and an and one. Nice take by Brevin Galloway.
They're getting the ball, Mike, from side to side much better in the first part of the second half, and they're skipping the floor and then making that extra pass to find the open man. But the problem is that after they've made these plays, they're not sprinting back and defending and making LSU work. Nice drive to the rim.
Brevin Galloway, whose brother Braden is a tight end for the Clemson Tigers. They got a big one on Saturday against South Carolina in the Palmetto Bowl. His father was a basketball player at Lander. His mother, a volleyball player for the Georgia Bulldogs. Pretty athletic family. Pinches the free throw, though. Waters into the corner. And off the foot, I believe, of Galway, yes. So LSU ball with 17 to shoot. Waters around the screen. Slice and kick. Now Mays up top. Mays. Beautiful drop-off pass. And crawling over the front of the rim, Emmett Williams with another bucket.
Well, tremendous patience in the half court by LSU. College Charleston did a pretty good job defending, rotating on the defensive end, but they just waited till they found the open man on the ball reversal.
So much unselfish play by this LSU team. You don't see a lot of one-on-one, even though they've got the guys who can do it.
They've been well schooled, and it starts with Waters. When your best player is unselfish, that kind of helps everybody out there on the floor.
Brantley sinks a three. He's got 15, and it's 45-32.
Single-handedly keeping College of Charleston in the same area code, but you got to clean up their defense. Just try to contain Waters, help, but don't overhelp.
Taylor had it blocked. Got it back. Mays on a leaner. Got it as the buzzer sounds.
Goodness. Couldn't play any better defense on Mays. Grant Riller was right up on him. Actually, probably fouled him a couple times with a body bump, but high degree of difficulty.
Lead for LSU swells back to 15. 14 and a half to play here in Orlando. Shot clock down to 5. Brantley with 1. Brantley got it to go on a fade. Special player.
Well, Jarrell Brantley has done it pretty much on every spot of the floor. He made threes. He's done it around the rim and in the lane, and that a little soft fade away from the wing.
Brantley leading all scorers with 17 points. Alley-oop. And banking it home is Marlon Taylor.
Again, though, on the weak side, Jalen McManus just had his head turned. He looked at the ball, had no idea where his man was, and that is death by alley-oop. Waters, the perfect delivery.
Waters now with 8 assists in this game. 8 points and 8 assists to just 1 turnover for Tremont Waters.
Well, Jarrell Brantley is doing his best to keep the Cougars hanging around. A little old school step back with power. And then Tremont Waters, 8 assists, only 1 turnover.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings.
Oh, what goes better with a little Thanksgiving turkey than some college hoops? Larry Turkey Bird. Oh, yes. Not the hick from French Lick. Different Larry Bird.
Stop. That's not good.
Larry,
who's responsible for that?
Bird.
It's not respectful to my man.
Can we not get a better seat
Larry
for Mickey?
Bird.
I mean, we put him all the way up in the rafters. That's just disrespectful. Can we get him a pass? We'll talk to some people who know some people. What Charleston knows, he had 17 points from Jarrell Brantley, but the rest of the team combined only has 17. Jasper splits the freebies.
Well, they gotta get a little. Sorry, Mike. They got a little bit more from Brevin Galloway and Jasper. Get him to score a little bit, and that in turn will get Grant Riller a little bit more space and respect, with respect for those other players as possible scorers.
What's been quiet in this game is Naz Reid. He's on the floor now. Hasn't been involved much in the offense. He's going to get involved here. Oh, my goodness. What a drive and finish by the big freshman, Naz Reid.
Took off from Asbury Park on that one. The big man. I'm like, what are you doing? You're way too far out to put that home, but no thank you. Delivery at the rim.
Goodness. Tried getting in the way of that. He actually came to campus at about 265. He slimmed down to 240. Moves awfully well for a big man. Brantley fades and fires. What a smooth game he has. 19 points now for the senior.
He's got it going, and Will Wade's got the two bigs in the game to try to slow down Brantley, but what he's doing off the bounce is just creating a little space and shooting right over the top.
Reid goes to work on Brantley. Got away with a walk. No, he didn't. But they've caught it. Extra pivot foot for Naz Reid. 9th turnover on LSU, but Naz Reid still feeling good about this play.
Well, he tried to use the footwork on the other one, but this is not footwork. This is power and elevation with authority. Goodness. One bounce and home from the three-point line.
One bounce, two big steps, and a thunderous right-hand slam. Under 12 to play. Cougars still hanging around. Brantley tried to split a double, got it back, throws it off the glass. He is undeniable right now. Just give Jarrell Brantley the ball.
Well, the thing is, he's taking his time, but he's using power, quickness, and savvy to get it done.
21 points for Brantley. Charleston clears, a chance to cut it to 10, maybe even 9 with a 3. It's a tough over-the-shoulder pass. Riller thought about it. Now he'll fire a 3. Boy, he just cannot buy one.
Mike, the ball just sticks on one side of the floor. Riller drove it in. He passed it back out. They drove it back to the baseline on the same side of the floor. The ball never went from the left side to the right side.
Riller is now 1 for 19 on the season from downtown. Let's see if he tries to do some damage here. Instead, it's Brantley. Why not? Brantley gets his own rebound and a block foul on the Tigers. Brantley is a one-man wrecking crew right now for the college.
Well, if College of Charleston is going to make things happen, just give this guy the ball every time down. He is not to be denied.
LSU on top, 51-39. They have led throughout the night, but College of Charleston not going away as long as Jarrell Brantley is on the floor.
Well, he's a one-man wrecking crew right now. He's just, as the game is progressing, he is just gaining confidence because he is feeling it not only off the bounce from the perimeter, but inside, outside. He is mixing up his game, and Will Wade has put a series of different defenders, quicker guys, longer guys, stronger guys, but even double and triple teaming him at times. And when he gets the ball in the paint, they are setting that second and third defender, but he is not to be denied. And the thing I like is he doesn't force the issue, he just waits until he can find a little bit of room, and then he finishes.
He's got 21 points. Mid-range jumper by McManus knocked down. Incidentally, the record for points in a game here at the Advocare Invitational, now in its 13th year. Matt Carlino of Marquette back in 2014 scored 38. For the whole tournament, how about Michael Beasley at 73? I was actually at that event. That was in 07. He put on a clinic. And after becoming a lottery pick out of Kansas State, Frank Martin was the coach of that team. Waters on a deep 3. Charleston might have caught a break there. It looked like it kind of grazed the hands of Riller. But Charleston will have the ball, a chance to cut it into single digits. And when you think of the way this game has played out, at no point have you felt like LSU is not in control, and yet they can cut it to 8, maybe even 7 here.
Well, Jarrell Brantley, his ability to score and just kind of take the game over for College of Charleston has given his teammates a little bit not only hope, but confidence. You saw it even on that last possession when Jalen McManus hit that tough wing jump shot. Those were clanking in the first half. So if they can get Grant Riller going a little bit, along with Brantley and maybe Galloway, sneak back into this thing, because LSU has lost a little bit of its mojo on the defensive end of the floor.
Brantley crossing over, fading, firing, left that one short.
Thought he had a lane all the way, and he pulled up. Got all the way to the rim.
LSU has led by as many as 17. Tigers up by 10 here, under 10 minutes to go. Waters, blind pass. Goodness gracious, he makes it look easy. And a bucket for Williams.
Oh, that was just that backside roll, and his head up, knowing exactly where the roll man is going to be on the weak side. Perfect delivery.
9 assists already for Waters. By the way, the record is 12 in a single game in this event.
Well, this is just a thing of beauty, and he draws the second defender. He knows he can just feel Jarrell Brantley coming with him, and as soon as he feels that second defender, he knows the roll man is open on the weak side.
Such a feel for the game. You know, sometimes that comes with experience, but honestly, having done a lot of LSU games last year, Tremont Waters had that kind of savvy as a freshman.
Well, absolutely, and the thing about him is that if you're an excellent defensive team on that pick and roll play, your backside weak side back defender's got to roll, get in the help side, and take away that backside roll. But Waters had his head up and under control with the perfect pass to the rim.
Back to a 10-point game. LSU setting things up in the half court.
They're in the zone now. They're changing things up, trying to slow Waters down.
Pull-up jumper rattles off, and a rebound of the Cougars. This has not been a single-digit lead since about 5 minutes left to go in the first half. And bad pass that time by Riller.
That's just not a good look. You can't come down the floor but just try to force things into Nick Harris when he's not open. You've got to be looking for Brantley.
Who are you looking for here? What's the play?
Well, they're going to run the high screen and roll, the roll and replace, and let Waters do his thing.
Reach-in foul on Brantley. Second foul. Timeout on the floor. 53-43. Things getting interesting here as the Cougars are mounting a comeback.
They're going to have a tremendous season.
Hold up, let me get up in it now. I'm here to
Somehow this one seems different.
I'm feeling free, I'm finna bring it now.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Indiana takes on #1 Duke, Tuesday at 9:30 on ESPN.
Big Ten, ACC, two elite conferences. Great matchup. That'll be with the Hoosiers and the Blue Devils. Great fan bases for both two programs. Pretty good one here for LSU, as a matter of fact. Again, over 100 fans getting on the team plane from Baton Rouge here to sunny Orlando, Florida. And talking to Coach Will Wade earlier today, I said, we're at a point now where we're just about at capacity for all our games. The fans have responded in kind. There was a time not long ago, to be honest, the fan base and the excitement was kind of dormant in Baton Rouge for basketball. I think that's coming back now with Will Wade.
Well, the 8 wins in the league, the 17 wins overall, the NIT win, it's all part of the process. And it was a great first step, but I think this team will be even better than that with these talented freshmen and an elite point guard.
Skylar Mays, I mentioned earlier, he could have graduated by now. He changed his major from pre-med biology to pre-med kinesiology. Two majors that are probably far beyond the grasp of you and I, Coach, intellectually. But he lost 30 hours doing that, so he didn't graduate. But he's such a bright young man. He's a 4.0 student. And when the late Wade Sims tragically passed away, they had a candlelight vigil, and he was one of the first guys that went up there and spoke. He was so eloquent. and his thoughts about his former teammate. Not a dry eye out there when he was speaking, but just a terrific young man, the true definition of a student athlete.
Oh, and a great leader on the floor. Just how important is that, just to lead by example off the court? And you can see just doing the little things defensively up in the passing lanes, and helps a guy like Tremont Waters tremendously on both ends of the floor. Just have an intelligent backcourt mate.
There's Wade Sims, would have been in his junior season out of Baton Rouge, and just an unbelievable tragedy that happened earlier this year. And he was shot and killed, a fight breaking out near the campus of Southern University. Followed by guess who? Jarrell Brantley, 25 points.
It was a great job, though, by Nick Harris. He just kind of reached over the top, tipped it, kept it alive, and Brantley with a good presence of mind.
Waters missiles it inside, but Williams misses from close range. And then somehow Mays gets it, and he banks it home.
Toughness, intelligence, grit by Skylar Mays.
Skylar Mays, it's easy to lose sight just how important Skylar Mays is to this team, because the freshmen are going to be heavily hyped, and obviously Tremont Waters is your headliner. And Skylar Mays is a key cog. I mentioned Wade Sims, again, very important role player for this team, and certainly they had high hopes for Wade Sims this year. Played 32 games, 10 starts last year, and tragically passed away. Thoughts and prayers to the Sims family.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. Advocare, we build champions. And Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Cougars got some fans from the beautiful city of Charleston, South Carolina. College of Charleston hanging around, down by 12. LSU has led this game throughout, but the College of Charleston will not go away thanks to Jarrell Brantley. Brantley with a game-high 25 points on 9 of 19 shooting. He's got 8 rebounds as well.
Grant Riller's only 2 for 8 for Charleston, and with 4 points, and most of that has come from unbelievably overplay and toughness defensively by Skylar Mays.
Waters probing, and that time he threw it away. Galloway on a steal. Galloway misses. Follow. Galloway missed again. Oh, goodness. Galloway would love to have that second one back, but it will be Charleston ball. Foul called on LSU.
It looked like Jarrell Brantley was barreling down for the putback, but he short-armed it as well.
Foul is on Edwards, and that's LSU's 7th foul, so a 1-and-1 upcoming for Brevin Galloway, a 67% free throw shooter. Your Thanksgiving edition of SportsCenter after the Egg Bowl on ESPN with Bucci and Anderson. They'll have Falcons Saints updates with reactions and analysis when it goes final, plus a Dak Prescott breakdown from today's game against Washington, and an in-depth look at the Iron Bowl. SportsCenter after the Egg Bowl on ESPN. Mike Morgan with Tim Welsh. Great to be with you here in Orlando. 13th annual Advocare Invitational. Villanova and Oklahoma State winning earlier today. LSU trying to follow suit, up by 11. We'll be with you on ESPN2 for the nightcap. Florida State taking on the Blazers of UAB.
Better job, College of Charleston, negotiating that high screen and roll for Waters.
Reach-in foul on Jasper. Team foul number 6. Looking forward to seeing Florida State up close and personal. They won this event back in 2009. Leonard Hamilton coming off an Elite 8, and they are loaded.
They're loaded not only with their core guys, but they've got a group of younger players that's given them some tremendous depth.
3 on the way, knocked down by Darrell Edwards.
A lot of confidence for Darrell Edwards. Only 1 for 5 on the season, but just locked and loaded from the perimeter.
Really finished the season strong last year for LSU. He was a key cog on that run to the NIT. Young man, junior college transfer out of Fresno, California.
Just finding the open man with that little one-hand shove across the top of the key. Perfect. Right in the pocket.
10 assists now for Waters, just 2 turnovers. Waters 2 points away from a double-double. Galloway gets a friendly bounce.
Just when Charleston, you think they might have one surge to get them back within striking distance, Waters makes the exact perfect play.
13-point lead in the basketball for LSU. Tigers trying to improve to 5-0 in the end season. Rare miscue.
Tried to force it into Ricky Williams, but really wasn't open.
Wiener by Jones off the mark. Follow. Rims out. Another miss from close range. Bodies get tangled up, and here comes Waters ahead of the pack. Sets up an open shooter. 3-ball, yes! Darrell Edwards. And that hurts if you're Charleston.
No, it hurts. Earl Grant's got to either get a timeout or quickly get Grant Riller and Jarrell Brantley back in the game. Right now he's got them both on the bench. In transition, look at the head. Eyes up, looking, surveying the land, finding that open man again, putting it right where he can catch and shoot.
Jasper. Charleston not doing itself any favors at the free throw line. 7 misses now for the charity stripe. LSU up by 16 with the basketball. Waters whips it down low. The College of Charleston time to get something going now. Under 4 minutes to play. Foul on the floor on LSU. That'll be against Bigby Williams, and that'll send us to immediate timeout. 3:44 to go. LSU up big on the Cougars. Bad Boy Mowers' battle for Atlantis is going to come down to Wisconsin and Virginia. Possessions will be at a premium in that one. That'll be 2 p.m. on ESPN tomorrow afternoon. Badgers and Cavs, who do you like?
Well, I like the Cavs, but Wisconsin is going to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. There's no doubt about it. And a very, very good Big Ten. And right out of the gates early in the season has claimed to be maybe one of the best, if not the best league. The leagues are a little bit down from the past few years. The Big East still trying to find themselves, a very young conference. We saw Villanova earlier today. It looks like they're starting to get it, but it's going to be a while because they're very, very young. But Jay's got some good freshmen.
It's easy to lose sight of the fact that Virginia had a tremendous year last year. Yes, they were the first #1 to lose to a 16, but you don't win the ACC regular and tournament championship without having some talent. Many of those players back, and they got a key transfer. Braxton Key from Alabama. That's a good
Well,
find.
I would think that there's a little edge to Virginia to get back and go a lot farther than they did a year ago. And sometimes it's awful painful to go through those early exits. But it's a reminder for the next season just talking to Leonard Hamilton a little bit earlier. He said, getting in the final eight, Elite Eight last year, there was no happiness in that. It's kind of a motivation for us to get to that level again this year and maybe beyond.
That's kind of funny the way it goes, isn't it? Florida State finishes 7th in the ACC. They go to the Elite Eight. Virginia dominates the regular season and the conference tournament, and they lose in the opening round.
Well, this College Charleston team struggled a little bit against a very good defensive team in LSU, but I think they're built to last. Once they get Pointer back, the Colonial's going to be challenging, as always, with Northeastern. Probably one of the team to beat in that league. But Charleston, I think, will be very, very good as they get into league play.
Big year for them last year, ending that tournament drought, which dated back to 1999. They've gone through a few coaches. Looks like they're happy with Earl Grant, who's from Stall High School in Charleston. He grew up a fan of this program. It's his dream job, and looks like the program is in good shape.
He's got a lot of energy, a very, very good teacher. I was so impressed with his practice yesterday, just breaking down his defensive scheme. And his defensive scheme has been pretty solid. The times that they broke down tonight was basically just lack of communication, and learn from that. And that's why you come and play in these tournaments. You find out a lot about yourselves early in the season.
Foul on the floor on LSU. Again, we'll be with you for the next game on ESPN2. It'll be Florida State UAB. Florida State will certainly be a favorite in that one, which could potentially, and I don't mean to get ahead of ourselves here, but an FSU-LSU matchup, that would be one heck of a dandy tomorrow, if that turns out to be the case. You want to talk about two teams with a lot of athletes. You see the Seminoles getting ready, warming up in the tunnel. A team that has so much depth, and they don't even have the services of Phil Kofer right now. He broke his foot back in late October, so he's still on the bench. He'll be back eventually. Trent Forrest, P.J. Savoy, and the guy that really makes it all go is Terrence Mann. They got some size, too, by the way. Gavin Jelly at 6'10", and Kumaji at 7'4". They know how to protect the rim. LSU trying to protect the lead here as we inch up on the 2-minute mark. There's sloppiness there by Reed. That's going to lead to an easy bucket the other way. Will not please Will Wade whatsoever.
Nas Reed, you can see, has that ability to put the ball on the floor, but I think Will Wade wants him to have a heavy diet of spin moves from the top of the key in the middle of the lane.
It's contagious. That time not Waters, but Darrell Edwards dropping dimes.
Well, they do a great job of spacing the floor, reversing the ball, and then when the ball does come into the gaps, not only does the dribbler have his head up, but the other offensive players do a nice job of sliding into an open area.
Darius Days on the foul for LSU. Tigers in good shape to make it 5-0. You were talking about conferences earlier. You know, the SEC was a landmark year last year. Conference record 8 teams in the NCAA tournament. Having had a chance to see about a handful of those teams already this year in person, I don't see a drop-off. It's Tennessee, it's Auburn, it's Kentucky, but it's not just those 3. Those kind of grab the headlines, but look out for Mississippi State. Florida's always dangerous, even though they're off to a sluggish start. I think some other programs can provide a scare this year. See what Missouri is like without Jonte Porter, but you could be looking at another 8 bids out of the SEC this year.
Well, Mike, there's no doubt about it. The SEC is built to last, and the reason being is a few reasons. Obviously, great universities and history, but took their lumps for a few years, and then they decided, okay, we're going to put more money into our programs, into our facilities, and the B part, or A2, hire great coaches.
Right.
And that's, I think, been a huge difference in the last 3 to 5 years with the SEC. You go right down top to bottom in the league, and everybody has an elite coach.
LSU feels like they've got a pretty good coach of their own in Will Wade, and LSU is certainly going to be in the race for the SEC crown this year. It's a good-looking team. On its way to another win tonight. And get ready to take on the winner of UAB Florida State tomorrow. Tremont Waters, another great day at the office for the sophomore. 8 points, 11 assists. An assist total one off the record here at the Advocare Invitational. LSU never trailed, and a double-digit lead for the last 25 minutes and change. LSU wins it by a final of 67-55.
Waters was so impressive, delivering, under control, setting the pace of this game with his ability to share the basketball with his head up and make things happen for himself as well.
Not surprisingly, our player of the game is Tremont Waters, who really just set the table for so many guys. I think out of those 11 assists, about 9 of them were no-look passes. Our Advocare Invitational player of the game, Tremont Waters, and hope to be joined by Tremont momentarily as longtime sports information director Kent Lowe brings us over to the table. See an update now. We've got 3 down, 1 more to go. Villanova and Oklahoma State winners earlier today. LSU will take on the winner of UAB and Florida State. ESPN will have the first game tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. And LSU and the winner of UAB Florida State will be on ESPN2. Our game coming up, UAB Florida State, will be on ESPN2 as well, as we are pleased to be joined by our Advocare Invitational player of the game, Tremont Waters. Tremont, you probably don't know this, but you were 1 assist off the record here at this tournament. You had 11. What happened? You couldn't get 12?
I was just out there hooping. I was trying to just make the right play, so I don't even think about stuff like that. But I was trying to get the 12th one, but just couldn't get it.
You know, I had a lot of your games last year, so I had a chance to see you firsthand, and you certainly had a really good freshman year. But the game even seems to be coming to you easier now as a sophomore. Talk about that progression. What's been the difference?
Just last year I had to put up a lot of shots. I had to create for a whole team, and just this year we have a lot more talent around me, and the coaching staff just told me I have to cut it down on the shots and just take better shots and just be able to run the team. So I'm just able to just pretty much run my team and just take what's open for myself and my team. That's pretty much it.
You have more talent on the team, but it's new talent, it's young talent, and this early in the season, how do you have such great chemistry with some of those other guys on the floor? I mean, pinpoint delivery to the with the passes, but also they were very aware of where you wanted them to get the ball.
It was just like coming into this year, I kind of knew, like, when I decided to come back to school, I knew that those guys were coming in. So I would gate the coaches like, hey, Trey, you got to just talk to them about what's going to happen, how the game's going to go. And that's what I did coming in. I just met with Nas, Javante, Darius, and Emmett, and we pretty much talked about how the games are going to go and where they're going to be open, because the guys are going to pressure me. So all their open spots are going to be down low and the wing. Obviously, like Darryl made a 3, but he was here last year. So Javante just has to just pretty much fill in that role, and that's what we've been doing.
You start ever filling it from the three-point line like you know you can, and coach knows you can. How dangerous can you be as a player and this LSU team be?
Our team can be really great. My shot's just not falling right now because I'm just a lot stronger. I've been in the gym shooting, and I just got to get my rhythm back.
Final question, Tremont. Last year, obviously, the expectations were low for LSU, coming off a tough period. As you mentioned, not quite the same total talent that this year's team has. What are the goals you guys have talked about for this season?
Obviously a national championship, but coming into the season, we kind of knew last year wasn't our year as far as like going into NCAA tournament and everything. So we kind of just have high standards for our team and high expectations. And for us, we just keep it within the family, within our basketball family and our LSU family. So we just gonna keep working and striving to be a national champion.
Well, you can make another strong statement tomorrow, depending on who you have here, UAB or Florida State. Should be a great test for you. Tremont, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, thank you.
You got it. Tremont Waters, one of the better point guards you'll find in college basketball. 11 assists, 8 points, and the LSU faithful awfully happy with what they saw here today. LSU winning it 67-55, the final score. Don't forget, coming up on ESPN2 at 9:30 sharp, we'll have those Florida State Seminoles taking on the Blazers of UAB. Florida State also nationally ranked, and they potentially could be headed for a matchup with LSU tomorrow. Earlier today, the first couple of winners, Villanova looking impressive, Coach, as they were able to knock down Canisius.
Well, Jay Wright's Pups grew up a little bit. They've grown up a little bit every day, but really it was old reliable Phil Booth taking over when they needed it.
And in the second game, Mike Boynton's Oklahoma State Cowboys put on a clinic against Memphis.
Oh, they did, and they are athletic, they're long, they're tough defensively, and they just smothered Memphis in the second half where they couldn't get any good looks at the rim.
84-64 the final there. Those two teams will meet tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. That'll be on ESPN. And at LSU waiting for a 4:30 tilt against the winner of UAB and Florida State. Florida State actually won this event back in 2009. Before we switch over to ESPN2 and actually get a chance to call that game, what about the Seminoles? I mean, we touched on it a little bit during our broadcast, but Leonard Hamilton's got so many weapons this year. One of the deepest teams in the country, bar none. What do you like about the Seminoles the most?
I like their depth. And, of course, Leonard Hamilton teams always play in-your-face, tough defense. They don't gamble. They're solid. They take away the paint. They really do a great job on the backboards. But they've had some offensive weapons this year. P.J. Savoy, he is a really good shooter from the perimeter. And their younger players come in off the bench and give them a little bit of balance. They have guys that come in and make plays offensively. So they have a good balance of strong offense on the bench, strong defense to start the game.
They've got size, they've got depth, they've got shooting. There's a lot to like about Florida State. Hey, there's a lot to like about LSU. LSU basketball is back, folks, and better than it's been in quite some time. Once again, our final, LSU winning this one 67-55. For Tim Welsh and our fantastic crew here at ESPN, Mike Morgan saying so long. We'll see you on the Deuce for Florida State UAB.